जयपुर वाया कोटा
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ
Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो
The IPL is a gift that just keeps giving. We've had two back-to-back thrillers. Can we expect a hat trick today? Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. I'm joined by my favorite opening partner who's been with me since the first day, Lisa Sthalekar. And Joy sir has made way for a very popular and a very bold statement making Simon Doull. Welcome to our show. Simon, how does it feel to be in this lovely studio?
It's great to be back, I can tell you that much. Studio's changed a touch. We've all changed a bit, I think, and I've got to wear glasses nowadays. And Lisa's looking fantastic. You're looking lovely. It's great to be back in the studio. Looking forward to tonight's game and maybe one or two controversial comments.
Well, we're
Just
all
to keep
waiting for
everybody
that.
happy.
But has your phone stopped ringing after yesterday?
No. Look, luckily, Elon Musk blocked me from Twitter in February 19, actually. I was done from Twitter. I'm not allowed back on for some reason. So I have missed all of the outrage. But I was sent a few things. I got some death threats.
Ouch.
Oh,
really?
yeah.
No
I love
way.
the passion. Yeah, I've had death threats. I've had everything. You name it in the last 24 hours. But hey, you make a statement. It's
Jeez, he loves it anyway.
Yeah,
I'm amazed actually that we've got him. He's the most popular commentator going around. Anywhere I listen to cricket, all of a sudden there's Dooley's voice.
Yeah, Simon's always there.
have work will travel.
Yes.
That's my motto.
But well, we're really happy to have you here. So thank you for
Great to be
joining
here.
us. Two people who are not very happy, two teams rather, that are not very happy are Mumbai and Delhi. Because we are sitting at the bottom, because Mumbai and Delhi are both have still not gotten off the mark. Well, Mumbai's lost 2, Lisa. Delhi's lost 3. Who is in more trouble, Mumbai or Delhi?
Well, actually, I might tell you first, Simon, that she loves Mumbai. She's a Mumbai girl. So when she says we,
It slipped out.
Yeah, it did. So just letting you know which side she's going.
Mumbaikars, is that what they were?
Mumbaikar.
Mumbaikar, yeah. So I the other day, just to digress slightly, I had Sunny and Ravi in the combox with the opening up, and I had to pick one of them to take the Mumbai team.
Yeah.
The other one had to do Chennai. I just I came
Guys
in there and
sorted
I
out.
missed my point because I basically said I'm going to go with Sunny because I have to go age over Ravi.
Well, I'm not as popular a presenter, nowhere close towards Simon. This is my 4th day today. But after his death threat statement, I'm very scared. I'm just going to say cricket's the winner.
Yeah,
Cricket's the
well
winner.
done. That is a very safe.
Game of two halves.
Yeah.
And cricket's the winner. Who is in more trouble though?
Yeah, I actually think it's Mumbai. And I say that even though Delhi have played an extra game and is still searching for their first victory, just because they're so reliant on their Indian batters and they haven't produced anything. They're the stars. Then you've got these younger guys, and I say younger as in Cam Green, Brevis, Stubbs, all of these guys, but they're still searching and figuring out what T20 cricket is at the highest level. And they've got to try and fit them in, or at least one, potentially 2 in. And then from a bowling point of view, once you take Bumrah out and you take Archer out, boy, it looks really, really thin.
You agree with Lisa? Mumbai in more trouble than Delhi?
I think so. I mean, I'd rather be in Delhi's shoes at the moment. Still, look, at any rate, they're probably fighting out for that 4th spot at best if they get a whole lot of wins on the board. The results speak for themselves. 7 wickets, 8 wickets for Mumbai does not look good, and Delhi's losses have been equally as bad. To be fair, Mumbai had a stinker of an auction. And they're paying the price for it. They're paying the price for spending way too much on Ishan Kishan, saving all their money for a bloke they didn't know could play, whether he could, whether Jofra Archer was going to be fit or not. For the first time, I think they just had a really ordinary strategy. Normally, you would associate Mumbai, and because of the big business that's behind Mumbai Indians or Mumbai, you think they're going to be okay. They're going to be going with a great strategy. They were awful. It really was. It was poor, and they're paying the price for that now.
Lisa, most spiritual gurus or like people who are very wise, like Mr. Joy sir himself, they say that you should let go in life. Letting go is a great thing, but Mumbai and Delhi have let go a bit too much. Because they've let go.
Nice
of so
segue.
many
I
Yeah,
like
like
it.
it.
Well done.
Let go, don't let yourself go.
Yeah.
I think that's the way I look at it.
The problem is that they've had to, haven't they? And some of the decisions of who they kept has really cost them. You know, you look at how many players Delhi have lost, and you look at those players, and they actually had their breakout year for the Delhi side, and now they've gone on and they're continuing to be successful. I mean, Stoinis the last game, we know what Hetmeyer's done. Rabada hasn't really had an opportunity, and then same on the flip side, Mumbai. There's not as many players that they've let go, but they're such key ingredients to what was such a winning formula for them. The Pandya brothers in the middle, Trent Boult, they're players that win you matches by themselves. So to kind of lose that stability that they had in the middle, we can see that they are really struggling.
It's a weird thing because it's actually, in a roundabout way, Pandya's going has been good for Indian cricket because Hardik's proven himself as a quality captain. I think the status that he couldn't quite get at Mumbai as far as leading and being a leader. They would have said you're in the leadership group, that's fine, but he's now becoming a very good captain and a quality captain. Krunal's just a good player. I've always thought he's a terrific player, and he's a great backup to whether it be Jadoo or Akshar or anyone like that. He's equally sort of in that camp as far as I'm concerned. So I think they've become better cricketers, but also Hardik's become a captain, and he could captain India at some stage in the future without any issue at all. Letting Trent Boult go, I couldn't quite catch my breath with that.
You spoke about that a little earlier, and well, I'm still to get a little more experience, but the emotions in me come out because how can you let go of Trent Boult?
Exactly.
You're punting on Archer, who's not entirely fit. Trent Boult is someone who said, okay, I'm going to focus on one format of the sport. And then you go and punt on Archer, who's not 100% fit.
Why don't you go and sit at the table?
They're just way too many people. There's no space there.
There's not enough room at the table. You can't all get your feet under the table there at that auction. I tell you, everyone's clamouring for that auction, aren't they? Because they all want their little TV time.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know how they got rid of Trent Boult. I mean, I know why, because they wanted money. And they needed money, and he was, quite an expensive buy. But when you are in the top 2, 3, 4 bowlers in the world, you are going to be expensive. Mumbai at their best had probably one of the best bowling attacks in the tournament. Bowlers win your tournaments, and I'm biased on that front. Batters win your games, bowlers win your tournaments. So a bowling attack across, look at what Gujarat did last year. Around that bowling attack, that's why they won the tournament, on the back of Miller's brilliant season with the bat, to Watia on a few occasions, and different guys chipping in. But their bowling attack won them that tournament, and Rajasthan got to the final because of their bowling attack as well. They were absolutely brilliant, 2 best in the competition. So, you let key guys go, you're going to pay the price, and they're just doing that now.
You're talking about a price and big buys. Cameron Green, they've spent a lot of money on Cameron Green. Well, he is somebody who has all the potential because Greg Chappell said that, after Ponting, he's probably one of the finest cricketers from Australia. He hasn't really had the start that Mumbai would have liked or he would have liked. So where do they go with Cameron Green?
Yeah, and this is where, I mentioned it the other night as well. He just hasn't played a lot of T20 cricket. They've absolutely put him in cotton wool to make sure that he's right for the test game. I agree. I think there's something X factor about him. And you can see that in the test arena. But when he's only played just over 20 T20 games, he's still figuring out how to play this game, and to put him in a key position in that number 3 and then get him to bowl. I mean, he's hardly bowling. I mean, he's only just started bowling in Test cricket. So it's a big call to spend that much money, in Australian dollar terms, over $3 million for a guy who actually hasn't played a lot of T20 cricket. So, we spoke about it in the flavour of the month. He comes over, he opens the batting, he has an absolute outstanding knock. We've seen some of his hitting and striking ability in the Test arena. You know that it's going to translate into the shortest format. But then to do it week in, week out with this much pressure and then that price tag, that does actually play a huge role on the players.
The price tag's hit players for 10, 15 years. The price tag has hit players, whether it be going back to the early days, whether it be the Richard Levy's, the Corey Andersons. I mean, Mumbai is like going into that ice cream shop and what's the new flavour? There it is, I'll have that.
Yeah.
And they always spend the most money on it. And they do. They have a history of doing it at the auction without really doing their due diligence. And I'll put the RCB are the other ones that do it. They did it with Kyle Jamieson.
Yeah.
Couldn't play, couldn't bowl in T20 cricket. But they paid an extraordinary amount of money for Kyle Jamieson. And he wasn't a T20 bowler. They did that on the back of test match bowling. And these are the mistakes that some of these teams are making. And I think the analysts have to really look a bit harder into, delve a bit deeper into what their options. Cameron Green will have a game. He'll have a game or two because he's that good a player.
You know, Lisa, you spoke about the white ball and red ball thing. My Twitter bio says that I'm a sport and Sachin lover, so I have to talk about Sachin because I have to plug him in everywhere. Master actually spoke to Cameron Green the other day and he said he should open the face of his bat a little bit. Where this is what Cameron Green had to say is, whenever Sachin talks, you listen to him. I agree with you, Cameron Green. He was basically talking about the fact that I was playing with a closed face in red ball cricket, but in white ball cricket, opening the face of the bat helps you to access balls on the offside. That's the conversation I had with him.
Yeah, I can understand the technical differences and changes. So red ball cricket, you want to get in line with the ball, you want to play it under your nose, play with a straight bat, trying to hit straight down the ground, take all the risks out. T20 cricket, it's let's play open this leg, let's carve it through, as Danny would say, carve it through. Yeah, through all the offside, and then if it comes a bit straighter, then I can just flick it and work. I get that part of it, but it goes then back to the fact that they haven't done their due diligence. And you talk about the analysts, and I think they get all the numbers right. But then I wonder if, there's some number or there's some outside force that is putting pressure on. No. Forget about the numbers. I just have a good gut feel that this is the person for us. They're going to win us a tournament.
He's a massive. I mean, I was surprised how big he is.
He's huge.
At one kitty the other night, and I was looking.
He's what, like 6'8"?
He's enormous. He's an enormous human being. So at the crease, he's an imposing figure, and he has the ability to stamp his authority on any game. And as I say, he will have an outing or two in the tournament. I have no doubt. I think he's good enough to do that. But it's just that consistency. We're seeing the same sort of thing. I mean, you digress, but Harry Brook, huge price tag, really terrifically talented player. But this is an environment that tests you more than any, right?
Yeah.
When you've come in, all of a sudden, a franchise is paying you $2 to $3 million for 8 weeks. They want their pound of flesh. You have to perform, and you're in front of 40, 50,000, armed about 80,000. It is pressure, and it is the toughest league and the best league in the world for that very reason.
You spoke about the price tag. I read somewhere that Cameron Green actually was joking around and talking to Nathan Lyon, saying, how much I've gotten paid for the league. But clearly that's playing on his mind a lot.
Yeah, he'll learn to pretty much shut his trap pretty quickly, I reckon, especially after the poor performance.
But it's not his fault as well. I mean, we must remind people that it's not the player's fault. It's the people sitting at the table that are pushing the price up. And the other thing is, at that auction, everybody knows that Mumbai want that chocolate flavour as well, right? So they put it up. They go, who's the flavour? Green. Green's the one they want this. Yeah, okay, so we just keep going. They just keep pushing them up, keep driving the price up.
I'll digress a little bit on the WPL, because it was the first time that women went through the auction process. And they were playing a T20 World Cup in South Africa at the time. And they said it was the weirdest experience. Like, all of a sudden people are valuing my worth and publicly sharing it. Whereas normally all the deals are kind of just done with the manager or by themselves and it's put away. But this is out in the open of, hey, we only want this for you. You're only worth this, or you're worth an extremely huge amount. Didn't sit well with a lot of the players, whereas the guys, I guess, are a little bit used to. But Cam Green, it's the first time he's in. So, of course, he's...
The girls' point of view too, you're in a World Cup, so you've got girls in the same team. Some aren't getting picked up.
Yes.
Some have put themselves out there, and, some good players, Susie Bates,
put
herself out there, didn't get picked up, and you're like, all of a sudden your teammate does, and Mealy goes, and Sophie goes, and it's like, oh dear, and then there's a bit of dissension in the ranks. But that happened in the men's game the first few years of this tournament. That is exactly what happened. You had guys sitting in the changing room while the auction was going on, and all of a sudden, 300, 400, 500. Corey Anderson sitting in the corner of the New Zealand change room, 800 and something. He's like, what's going on here? And that's the pressure, but it's not the player's fault. I'll say it again. Don't blame the players. They get what they're worth, according to other teams.
We'll wait and see what Cameron Green does. We've got an update that Mumbai is bowling first. So let's quickly have a look at Delhi's playing 11 because lots to discuss there with Delhi's batting issues. Yash Doull comes in and Mustafizur Rahman comes in. Prithvi Shaw is in. He was a sub the last time. Riley Russo sits out. And Khalil Ahmed, who I think had some injury concerns the last game, sits out.
So they brought the fizz back in, haven't they? Mustafizur Rahman. So
Yes.
he comes in. So they've started with 4 overseas, which is, I think, a good move. They've spelt Doull wrong, haven't they?
No, that's how they spell it.
D-O-U-L-L?
No, D-H.
Oh, sorry.
Yash Doull.
Sorry, I'm
Sorry,
like very
Lee.
studious
Sorry,
here.
Lee.
Like,
I mean, come on.
come on, the glasses are on. I'm like
Lee.
looking at my notes. Like, don't throw a left fielder at me. Come on.
Please for him though. I mean, he's another talented young Indian player. So, and there's so many of them. We see 2, 3, 4 every year. Really pleased that he's getting an opportunity. Hopefully that sort of continues through. They've kept Manish Pandey as well. So he was in the fielding unit last game when they fielded first, wasn't he? Because they left Prithvi Shaw in the subs bench and brought him in because Manish is probably one of the best fielders still in India in that Delhi lineup. So they've kept him in, which is an interesting thing to bat at 3.
Let's also have a look at the Mumbai 11 because there's so many changes happening all the time. Oh, Riley Meredith comes in and there's no Archer there again. Ouch.
I'm concerned with Jofra Archer. I just feel that we may see a report soon that he may be going back home.
Oh
like,
no, Lisa, don't say that.
Hey, remember, cricket's the winner, right?
Cricket's the winner.
Act cool. But it's, I was just speaking to Simon about it as well. Like I've seen the article where he said he's hoping to play one Ashes test and that would be a victory. So the Ashes is ages away. There's so much cricket to play and he's still... And that tells me that the player knows what's going on with his body and he knows that he's not 100%.
And that surgery, I mean, look, it's tough. It's hard for him, and we wish him. I hope he comes right.
They've rushed him in here
look,
because if he wasn't 100%.
Yeah, I think the South African league was a league too early, and again, you're paying money for the guy and probably pushing him a little bit. He wants to. He wants to be part of the franchise. He wants to be a franchise player because these franchises now are going to have 3, 4, 5 teams around the world within the next couple of years with another 1 or 2 leagues starting up in the next 2 years. So you can become just purely a franchise player. Don't worry about your country. Don't worry about anything else. We will pay you whatever we think you're worth and you will play for our 5 teams in 5 different countries around the world and that will be your job. And, he wants to be that guy. But I just think the South African one was one too early for him. He needed more time.
Lisa, more than Archer, I really like Archer and cricket is the winner. But what does Mumbai do from here? Because the bowling really lacks the zing without Archer. It just seems so weak.
Well, that's why they've brought in Riley Meredith. They've gone, right, we need pace. And then from what we've heard about the Delhi pitch is that it's green and it's going to suit the fast bowlers. So Riley Meredith can send thunderbolts down. He had an opportunity a couple of years ago with the Punjab side, probably got hit a fair bit because he probably didn't have a lot of change-up deliveries. He just tries to beat players with pace. And on these pitches, sometimes you can't do that, and the outfield. So he's a little bit older, a little bit more wiser. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing what he can produce in this edition of the IPL.
And key overseas batters on the bench, Tristan Stubbs and Tim David. I'm just looking through the Cricbuzz lineup there of the substitutes. So the impact player possibilities, I think that's the key, isn't it? They picked a bowling side and they've only gone with 3 overseas in their starting fielding unit, have Mumbai. So they've only gone with...
David comes in?
Green, Meredith and Berendorf.
I reckon it depends on how many wickets they lose at the top. So if they get off to a really good flyer, then Tim David will come in. If not, maybe they'll send in Stubbs. Is that how you?
Yeah, I think that's the key.
And we should see Mukesh Chaudhary coming in for Delhi. Mukesh Kumar, sorry.
Yeah.
You would think so for their bowling lineup. He would be a better option to come in for their bowling lineup, wouldn't he?
It's interesting. How have you found the impact player, even from the ground and commentating?
Look, it's a hard one at the toss. It's a hard one. You talk to the captains, and their team's going to change no matter what they're doing every game. And I think the one team that I feel it's helped more than anyone is Rajasthan, because they've always lacked that sixth bowler. Remember, they've used different bowlers at different times, but they had to use Rian Parag as a bowler. Yeah. Well, they've got 5 very, very good, high-quality bowlers, and then they've had to find a sixth every now and then. I think that's the one team that I look at, and I think it's helped you more than anyone. But you're seeing 7 genuine batters in the most cases, sometimes 8, and you're seeing a better bowling lineup for the most part, I think, through it. So look, it's always an easy one, but the substitutes, I think, are as important to name at toss time or at team selection time as the playing 11 or the starting 11 is, because we can't call it the playing 11 either.
Yeah.
And that changes. So I love it. I like the idea, I like the concept, and it just needs some tweaking as far as the speed of getting that impact player onto the field. I prefer the football method. Number 42 replaces number 23. Let's get on with the game.
Yeah. Yeah, talking about let's get on with the game, there are 2, again, concerns I have. One is Rohit Sharma and his form, and there is David Warner and his form. So it's not just 2 struggling teams, they're 2 struggling captains as well. If we can say a little politically incorrect thing to say, but twilight of their career, they've been there, done it. They're 6,000 odd runs in the IPL, and now suddenly the bat doesn't want to listen to their commands. So what is Rohit doing which is wrong? Because
I wish I knew. I could tell him, because I love Rohit. I really do, and I think he's one of the great characters of the game. But that there, if he was an overseas player, he'd have been dropped by now. I'm not saying they should drop him, but if he was an overseas player, he'd have been dropped with that record in the last 24 games. No 50s, average of 19, strike rate of 120. He'd be gone. But you're never going to do that, because he's the skipper, and that he has the ability to win you games. The problem is, I just don't know what's going on with the bat at the moment. I can't see any glaring changes, any glaring differences. At international level, he's still got getting the job done.
you got that 100,
There's no issue at international level. Are there external things that are playing on his mind? Is it a bit of staleness? Has he been there too long? Has he captained too long? I mean, and you kind of get to that point.
You think that that's what I was wondering as well, because this is something we keep talking between friends, is that just it's not form, because he looks great when he comes in, but the pressure of just being captain in all 3 formats, is that getting to him?
Yeah, sometimes it's nice just to turn up, rock up. Don't do all of the pre-meetings, selection People think, when you're captain, some people would think you go out there and you make the field changes and bowling changes. You have to do a bit of press afterwards and that's it. No. There's a whole nother time commitment where it just eats into your downtime, the chance to probably get away, not even think about the game. As a captain also, you relive the game all the time in your head after the day's play. You're constantly going, should I have done this? As much as you want to park it, the captain normally carries it with them. So I actually think, maybe he does need a break from the captaincy. Just let someone else do it.
But which format?
Oh, I think for Mumbai.
Yeah, the easiest one is Mumbai. Not India. No. I think the easiest one is Mumbai. I mean, I said for the last probably 3 years on this show that I thought Virat would benefit from not being captain at RCB, just to freshen him up a little bit and just to take that pressure. This is again. The money, everything about this is high pressure stakes in this tournament. It is not easy captaining a side. And so we talked about it prior to the auction that they would go for, I thought, Kane Williamson or Faf at RCB to captain that side and just to take the pressure off. And maybe that's time for Mumbai. Look, I don't know. We're not in that camp, and one bad year or 2 bad years, it might be if they have another one this year. They're still the best side in the history of this tournament, so you can't take that away from him. But playing under the same captain for so long, it's not always easy. Maybe they do need just to freshen up.
But from one captain to the other, David Warner is somebody who has been a successful captain while he played for the IPL. It's been a very strange and interesting season for him, because he has been in the top 5 run getters. But, well, the strike rate is a problem, and when we speak about strike rate, we'll just leave it all to Simon. Let him do the talking when it comes to strike rates.
Well, I'm glad Verinder Sehwag has backed me up on this because he gave David Warner a right
here on
tirade.
Cricbuzz, right here on Cricbuzz.
As well. Look, he's struggling. The one thing I will say in Davey's defence is that every time he's looked like he's tried to go, he's lost wickets at the other end in both games. He's just lost partners regularly. But I'm not sure he's shown the intent that I would like to see. And I think that's the conversation that Ricky Ponting, Shane Watson and the likes will be having with him about. It's the intent that I don't think I'm quite seeing him show. That's what they need. That's what Delhi need from him. They need the David Warner to go out and puff his chest out. I mean, he's, bulldog, you call him what you like. I mean, he is that guy. He's a street fighter. And you've seen a lot of him, Lisa. That's the sort of guy. When he walks out, he used to run out. He used to leave his mate behind. He would run, charge out to the middle, puff that chest out and say, bring it on. Who's got the quickest, who wants to come at me because I'm going to come at you. I just don't quite see that David Warner at the moment. And that's the guy I want to see.
But Lisa, do you think it's probably to do with age also? Because, we are seeing like when people are at the twilight of their career, we see someone like a Faf, for instance, he's focusing only on one format. So maybe is that the answer? Because Ponting said this. He said that after he got his 200 double 100 in the test, he said he should have retired from test cricket, focus on one format. So maybe is it the age?
Well, I think he's been found out in the test arena. He's been really challenged there. Obviously the injury to his elbow, missing the series against India. Then the other thing as well, when he played a few games for Sydney Thunder, his strike rate was like 108. So there's been a lot of noise outside, away from the field as well. So even with the Big Bash, getting him to play, there was talks of him going to the UAE League, and that everyone was kicking up a stink. Well, why are we letting our Aussie players go? We need to find more money. So then he gets more money, then the others get annoyed. So there's so many things, so many moving pieces before we even walk out onto the field, before he charges out or wants to puff his chest out. It's almost like he's already been beaten down a fair bit. There's a part of me that does feel a little bit sorry for him, what he's had to go through off the field probably the last 8 months. And I think it's taken its toll. And then subsequently, or before that as well, there's been questions about his place in the Australian side, in the test side. And when he's been such a good performer for the Australian team for such a long time, that's got to hurt you a little bit.
I thought it was thrown under the bus too, and that whole sandpaper gate thing. Yeah. I mean, everybody, the bowling unit all knew. They cried, oh no, we didn't know anything about it. I mean, the whole team knew about it. They just threw 3 blokes under the bus and let him go. And I think he's still got scars from there. I can't wait till the book comes out.
But Simon, do you think the way forward is this whole power hitting that people are working on? Like I've spoken about it so much. So is that the way forward for especially people probably 35 plus? Yeah,
I think so. It's not about changing your game dramatically, but you do have to develop other skills. And I think particularly in this tournament, we've talked about the impact player already. Sides can play with 7 batters, 8 batters almost at times. And so we are seeing teams just going a lot harder from ball one, or we should be seeing teams going a lot harder from ball one. So if you're an opening batter, you still want to be an opening batter. We've seen the leading run scorers list. They're all top order players. This is a great example of where the game is at the moment. You look at that, where are we at? We're the second most in the average power play score in the history of this tournament. So 56 in 2008. The pitches just must have been good back then. But the average first innings total is the highest it's ever been as well. So that just shows us that batters are going harder from ball one.
Well, and that impact player.
And the impact player is making, because your batting order is longer, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's why. So the question marks around little phases in the game where players go a run a ball, is that costing teams? And I think that will be the conversation that we will all continue to have as this tournament progresses, and no doubt all the fans and pundits at home as well, when your team isn't quite getting over the line and you're scoring over 200 runs.
We got, I guess, take last night's game just quickly, for instance, all right? When you are 1 down, and I'm going to say they were only 1 down, RCB, because DK faced only 1 ball.
Yes.
So in theory, they were 1 down the whole time. You've got to burn your resources. You've got to go harder from an earlier stage. Now, people will say, oh, it's the bowler's fault, it's the bowler's fault. Well, both sides' bowlers went around the park because it was a very, very good batting pitch. Yeah. everyone that scored over 50, apart from Virat, scored at a strike rate of 170 or more. Now, Faf only got there because he managed to get there late, but everyone was at least 170 or more.
You know, we're going to have more of the strike rate discussions because we would want to have more of those discussions because Delhi is coming into bat first. So that discussion over strike rate and David Warner will come up. Let's quickly have a look at the teams again, just so you all remember where we are right now. Quite a few changes in because Prithvi is coming in, Yash Doull comes in, and then later there is Mustafizur Rahman for Delhi. They're coming into bat first. And we'll also quickly have a look at Mumbai's team because they have quite a few changes. Bowling first, no Archer. Good luck, Mumbai Indians.
I was surprised that Khan is still playing because he's been tapped around as well the last 2
Ajinkya really
games.
took him to the cleaners.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, big opportunity for some players there from both sides. I think Indian bowlers and Indian batters need to step up at the moment. Otherwise, they might be on the chopping block.
I'm pleased to see that Cricbuzz has become very neutral. Like not one-sided
Ouch,
at all
yeah.
since
I'm
since
still
I've been
new. I'm
since
learning,
I've been
guys.
away. Like
Yeah.
I thought we were just Sweden, but we are not Sweden any longer, are we? We're picking sides here, aren't we? We are no
but
longer
Simon,
Sweden.
Some things haven't changed. Some things have changed because I'm new. Some things haven't changed, and that's of course Joy factors questions that come in. He's not here to read it for us. It's going to be complicated as always. 2 players, one in Bangalore and the other in Hyderabad squad, made this ODI debut in July 2022. The player of the match was won by another player in the Bangalore camp. Name them.
Oh, Joy, you haven't changed, have you? You have not changed, have you?
That's one thing that hasn't changed. It's annoying as it.
See, he uses words like in the Bangalore camp. He didn't say the team.
Yeah.
Didn't
So
say the
it
team.
could be.
What camp?
And did they actually play?
Oh, I don't know.
Could it be support staff debut,
He
or
just
who
gets in
knows?
your head, Joy. He's already in there. Day one,
I
and
think
he's
it's
in
the
there.
IPL squad. His questions are so complicated that I have to still read his questions over and
About
over
5
again.
times.
But you know, just getting to you and talking about taking sides, you should have seen Joy Bhattacharya's face when KKR won the other day. So I'm
seriously.
learning from the veterans.
He is always that.
Yes.
I mean, look, and no matter what he turns up in, there'll be something purple underneath. I don't want you to look. I don't want you to look. We're not going to give it away here, but
Right.
there'll be something purple underneath. Don't worry about it.
Okay, now the tradition which we have to stick to because you've come to the studio after very long, so I have to remind you of the traditions, is the prediction game. Lisa has been on point with the predictions.
A couple of them.
Okay.
Right,
all right.
2 out of 4 with me, so that's great.
Thanks.
That's
See, I love
50%.
it.
That's better than Mumbai and Delhi.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so we'll let you go first. Lisa, I'll go second.
Okay, yes. Got it, boss.
All right. Are we doing the power play or are
We
we
do
doing
the 20 over.
the
Yeah.
20 over score? Okay. Grass on the 7. I think it's a very good one. I'm going to go 196.
196 for Simon. I'm going to play safe as always. I'm going to go with 186.
And I'm going to go 203.
Ooh.
Woohoo!
One of the 200s.
Why not? Hey,
Yeah, no,
why not?
I've no problem with that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if it's going to be Lisa's day again and if they get to 203. That's all we have time for right now. But don't forget to join us the 10 over point at the Cricbuzz Combox. See you all there.
Jaipur via Kota.
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೈ
Hyderabad Superfast Express. পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন।